How's it going, fight fans? Welcome to Mind for Combat. If you're new to the channel, my name is Rohan, and this is my platform where I do MMA and boxing related content, and this is a video that I'm particularly excited for. But before we get to it, I need something from you. I need you to hit the subscribe button, like the video, dislike the video, and get involved in the conversation in the comment section below. Well, actually, you probably shouldn't be disliking it until you've actually at least seen the video, so give me a chance, huh? So, for this video, I'm going to be breaking down the upcoming fight between, it's a fight that I'm very excited about. Firstly, I'm going to be breaking down the upcoming fight between the reigning featherweight champion of the world, Max Holloway, taking on the returning legend and one of the greatest fighters of all time in Frankie Edgar. That's a key and important fight in the featherweight division for a couple of reasons. Firstly, Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar may be on the last legs of his career, and he's had a legendary career to demonstrate for all his efforts and all the wars he's been in, the world championships he's won, and all the upsets he's pulled off, the great fights he's had. It may be culminating to this one last moment where he has that one last opportunity to shine, and he takes on Max Holloway, who's coming back off a tough loss at lightweight to Dustin Poirier, his second loss of his career to Dustin Poirier, and he's coming down to try and show the world, look, I'm still just as great as we thought I was before the Dustin Poirier fight. The Dustin Poirier fight obviously hurt Max Holloway because before that he was on a pound for pound run and he was really becoming a superstar. And fighting Dustin Poirier at lightweight was probably an ill-conceived decision that he made. And it's a fight that I thought he was going to win, and that fight really surprised a lot of people. So coming into this fight, it's really important that he wins and cements his position at featherweight once again, and he takes on a guy in one of the greatest of all time in Frankie Edgar, and this is a very key and important fight. Now, let's go through the tailor tape and talk about some of the stats and how that matters in this fight. The first stat off the top of my head, or just a note straight away, is that Max Holloway is 27 years old. That makes him 10 years junior of the challenger, who is 37 years old. At 37 years of age, Frankie Edgar, with the wars that he's been in, the experience he's had in MMA, and just the amount of time he's been around, you got to wonder, is he starting to decline? For the first time in his career, when he fought Brian Ortega, he got finished. That's obviously very important to note, because Frankie Edgar's not a guy who had ever been finished before that. That was 2 fights ago. He got finished. Obviously, now he's aging. He's had a pretty long time coming into this fight. And is he now at a stage of his career where he's going to be starting to age, and it's going to be relevant to note his age? So that's something key that we need to keep an eye on coming into this fight. In terms of experience, Max Holloway's record is 20 wins and 4 losses. He's had 24 fights versus Frankie Edgar's at 30 fights with a record of 23 wins and 6 losses and 1 draw. So that's, in terms of experience, I think they're a good match there. Frankie Edgar's obviously had many world title fights, many high tough moments where he's come back and win the fights. But Max Holloway's had his own tough moments in his own right, and he's had a lot of experience, a lot of world championship experience as well. Max Holloway stands at 5'11", which makes him 5 inches taller than Frankie Edgar, who stands at 5'6", and that's key and important to note. Max Holloway has a 69-inch reach, which is only an inch longer than Frankie Edgar's reach at 68 inches. To describe his styles, Max Holloway, he's sort of like a pressure boxer. He'll be in your face, he throws kicks, he can mix it all up, he can do everything, but he favours the hands, and he throws high volumes of punches. Frankie Edgar is a career wrestling boxer. He obviously cuts angles, walks around, moves a lot, uses a lot of footwork, and he wrestles a very high level wrestler, and he's integrated that into his game very well. Let's look at some of the key wins. So for Max Holloway, when we're talking about his key wins, we're talking about the 2 wins over Jose Aldo, which are key wins. He's beaten Cub Swanson, he beat Charles Oliveira in his run to get to the title shot. He beat Anthony Pettis, who's doing great stuff now, and his most recent win was against Brian Ortega, who was undefeated at the time and was being sold as a future superstar, in which he may still be. With Frankie Edgar, with his key wins, then we're talking about the 2 wins over BJ Penn, which are key and important to note. He also beat Sean Sherk back in the days, which was a really good win. He beat Gray Maynard in that incredible trilogy to revenge his only loss, and a win over Gray Maynard and BJ Penn once upon a time. Those were massive wins, particularly BJ Penn. He beat Cub Swanson twice, his most recent win being Cub Swanson as well, which obviously is a much more deteriorated Cub Swanson. But he also stopped Chad Mendes after Chad Mendes' fight with Conor McGregor, so he's got a lot of key wins on his record. So both have incredible resumes, both have legendary resumes, I would say, and this is a very important fight. Coming into the fight, when we're thinking about the issues with Frankie Edgar, you've got to think about his age. He's a 37-year-old featherweight fighter. That is something to consider there. With all the experience he's had, that also leads on to his next issue, which is his wear and tear. He got stopped by Brian Ortega. He's been in the wars. He's been in the wars with Gray Maynard. He's been in the wars with Jose Aldo. You know what I mean? He's had them tough fights. So there's something to think about. And then coming into this fight, also his inactivity. His inactivity is something to consider as well. He's had a bit of time off, but I don't think it should be a big issue, but something you should keep your eye on. And his size, he's going to be 5 inches shorter than Max Holloway, and I know he's historically fought at lightweight and had a lot of success at lightweight, but is his size something to consider? For Max Holloway now, coming into this fight, coming off a loss for the first time, having lost his momentum, how's that going to impact his game? How's it going to impact him mentally? How is he going to deal with the loss? That's something for us to consider coming into this fight, and something that we want to see how it plays out. His health, how's his health doing? He obviously had that tumulus time in 2018 with his health. How is he doing at this moment in time? And the weight cut, his last fight was at lightweight. He's obviously had has tough weight cuts. How is he going to deal with the weight cut? That's what I want to know. The X factor for me in this fight for Max Holloway is going to be his youth and his boxing. His boxing is incredible, and his height, his reach, his length, that's going to make a difference. For Frankie Edgar, I think his X factor is going to be his wrestling. With Max Holloway, there is that wrestling question, and was able to, Conor McGregor, who's not known as a wrestler, was able to take him down. Granted, that was a long time ago, but he hasn't really had his wrestling truly tested since then. This will be the first time his wrestling gets truly tested since that fight, and it's very, very important for us to note or to consider what impact that's going to have coming into this fight. So Frankie Edgar's wrestling is one of his X factors, and his toughness. He's a very tough man. He's been around for a long time. Let's get into the fight and see how I think it plays out. So I feel like Frankie Edgar... Okay, firstly, before we look at this fight, what we need to think about is, where did Dustin Poirier have success? Dustin Poirier had success against Max Holloway, where he was able to hit him and hurt him. He was able to get the respect of Max Holloway early in the fight, and I think that impacted Max Holloway's game for the rest of the 25 minutes. Dustin Poirier is a heavy hitter. That is one thing Frankie Edgar is not, so I think that's going to impact him in this fight, because I don't know that he will be able to earn Max Holloway's respect in this fight. He is a wrestler though, and I feel like he will shoot for a takedown straight away. Will he be able to get it? I feel like initially he will be able to defend some takedowns, but I think Frankie Edgar will eventually be able to get takedowns, because he's not a guy who slows down as time goes on. This is a really hard fight for me to pick, and I know my boy Eric Gould from Taylor the Tape is going to be going the other way, but check out his breakdown. But I won't give his prediction just now. Just kind of want to build up the suspense to mine. So, yeah, I think that it's going to be fought a lot on the feet, and there's going to be a lot of boxing done in this fight. Both of these guys are historically boxers, and the vast majority of their striking offenses, they're boxing, particularly when we're talking about Frank Edgar. Max Holloway has got good kicks, but I feel like he's going to be able to use his length and box Frank Edgar and be able to establish some range with his jab. I feel like he's going to be able to defend enough of Frankie Edgar's takedown attempts to be able to do some damage on the feet, and as we've seen in the fight with Brian Ortega, Frank Edgar's not able to absorb the damage he once was. Also, the fight with Ortega for Max Holloway, we've been able to see that he's able to do damage early and amount that damage, and that damage doesn't matter. I feel like he's going to be able to defend enough takedowns and keep it standing for long enough to be able to get a decision. I don't think he'll get the finish. I'm not expecting a dominant performance from Max Holloway in any way, shape or form. I think at 37 years of age, Frank Edgar still has something to offer, but you must consider that he's on the decline in his career now. He's obviously shown that his chin can now get cracked, but I feel like he'll be able to survive Max Holloway. I feel like Max Holloway is not going to have the mojo that he normally has, because he's not on his long win streak no more, and he probably feels beatable. And I'm going to go with Max Holloway to ride out the decision with his boxing, be able to defend enough takedowns to be able to win at least 3 of the 5 rounds and get the win. So for my official prediction, guys, I'm going to go with Max Holloway to be able to get the decision win after a tough 5-round fight where Max Holloway is under difficult positions, and that's how I see this fight going. So fight fans, let me know what you guys think. Comment below with your predictions. Let me know what you thought of this breakdown, and thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, share out the video, all that jazz. Thank you guys, man for combat.